Hi, my beautiful, gorgeous people. It's your girl, Shonna Etienne with the Virtual Book Club. I am here waiting for you guys to join me so we can go ahead and get started. And as we continue the book, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. This is a very, very good book. I have enjoyed reading this book, and I hope you guys are enjoying going over the book with me on the Virtual Book Club. So I'm just waiting for you guys to come on. When you come on, just say hi to me. Let me know whether or not you can hear me. There go my brother Nick. Hey Nick, thank you so much for sharing that video, Nick. I appreciate that. Today, we are talking about what it actually takes in order for us to have good black men. Now, I say it like that on purpose. And it's primarily because, a lot of times I hear a lot of women complaining about there are no good black men. And oftentimes a lot of stressors that are communicated to me with respect to black men are some of them they're not financially responsible. They want to hang out all the time. Whatever the case is, this is what people have been communicating to me quite often. And I asked myself, I said, you know what? Why do we have so many men by chronological age not doing what they are supposed to be doing, what they should be doing, or what we need them to do? I don't understand it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey Charles, how are you? Coming in from California. Hey Lynn, how are you? Nick, Erica, thank you guys for joining in. I shared the video. Can you guys be so kind to share the video? And if you have not liked or followed the page, make sure you like and follow the page so that we can keep connected. So let's get into that. Because I know some guys might get into their feelings a little bit, but I especially know some women are going to be feeling some kind of way about the chapter. And the reason why I say some women are going to be feeling some kind of way about the chapter, I don't think that Dr. Kunjufu is doing it intentionally to put it on the women, but he raises some very, very powerful points that relates back to the women. So let's just really listen to what is being said. Again, putting our emotions to the side, and we can have the discussion from here. Hey Nick, they got my cousin Nick Jackson. How you doing? Yosef Figueroa, how you doing? Let's get going. Some mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. I know we all heard that before. Mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. That expression comes from the fact that a lot of mothers that have daughters, not all, but a lot of mothers that have daughters, their daughters grow up to be responsible young women. A lot of these young girls can live on their own after school. They move out, they keep down a job, they pay all their bills. They're able to organize a home, structure a home, and make sure they pay the bills in a home. We know there are a lot of women that are taking care of their men, right? Because the women have been raised in such a way to be responsible. On the other hand, he's saying that mothers love their sons. And what he means by this is we tend to do things for our sons. We tend to wash their clothes, cook dinner for them, help them clean their room. And basically what he's saying is that we got to get out that habit. We got to get out of that habit. Charles is asking me what page. We are on chapter 4 page. I'm on chapter 4. I don't know if we have this same version of this book, Charles, because he has a lot of different versions. But if we do, it is page 57. We are in chapter 4. Okay? He says, over the years, I have observed that when it comes to their sons, some mothers have low expectations for academic excellence and seldom assign household chores. Man, he about to start preaching. This double standard reinforces the stereotype that household chores and academics are for girls only. Further, it serves to create conflicting expectations in adult male-female relationships. She has learned to be responsible and expects him to be responsible as well. Not only has he not learned, he expects her to do all the cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, homework with the children, etc. Tell me we don't see that. Tell me we don't say, somebody go ahead and dispute that and I'll stop reading today. Because not in every home, but in a lot of homes, the males are not equipped to run a household. They're not. They want everything done for them. And the women, they're getting tired. They're getting beat up. Because women nowadays, they're working as well. So if you ever, fellas, if you ever had to watch children for a whole day with no babysitter, nobody to help you out whatsoever, it's a lot of work. Especially when your children get older and they have extracurricular activities, they have school, doctor's appointments, tutoring appointments, play dates, you name it. It's a lot. So not only is she doing all of that, she's also working, she's also cooking, cleaning, laundry, scheduling everybody's doctor's appointments. It's a lot. And basically what he's saying is men need to know how to do those things as well. And I know a lot of us, we like to stay back in like the old days. And we like to, check this out, guys, don't get in your feelings. Because remember, if we are coming from the diaspora, or if we are descendants of slaves, which many of us, majority of us are, we have been cultured into somebody else's culture. We have been taught how to act, how to think, and so forth by somebody else's culture. So we see them do things like their wives stay home and they're the one working. And a lot of men expect that to happen in their households too. Whereas if you really think about our experience when it came to slavery, there was no she staying home and taking care of the kid and he's working. We have always worked together. Always. Always. But for some reason, some men, not all, but some men feel they don't have to learn how to do anything that lightens her load. So they call black women angry, but she's not angry. She's frustrated. She's hurt. She's tired. She can't take it anymore. It's a lot on her shoulders. Everybody calls that black woman for every single thing. From family members, work, kids, friends, you name it. Everyone depends on her. And then here you go, a grown behind boy depending on her as well. And then you don't know why she's frustrated. Parents who work to give their children everything, check this out. This is for some of y'all. This is for some of y'all. Parents who work to give their children everything, but become annoyed when their children lack drive and enthusiasm. You cannot give your child everything and anything he wants. And then when he turns into an adult by chronological age and still acting like an adolescent, now you angry. Now you upset because you feel like his life ain't going anywhere and you have fear that his life is going to diminish. But that's how you set your child up. Boys need to be structured and nurtured and disciplined in order for them to grow into men. They just don't become men because of their age. Mothers who give everything and allow their sons to live at home indefinitely do not help their children grow up. This is for y'all. This is for y'all. We got mothers with children, grown men in their houses, and they still refer to them as their babies and kids. No, it's a grown man. We got mothers still paying their adult sons' bills and doing everything for them. And you wonder why he can't do it on his own. You wonder why he's not living in his own place. You wonder why he's not a responsible black man. You doing everything for him. And then when he get himself with a girl, a woman who's strong, who's independent, who makes things happen, and she don't tolerate his nonsense, now she's the nasty one. She's the one with the attitude. She wasn't good enough for him to begin with. No, she's doing your job. And she's tired. Why should she have to do your job? Raise your boys correctly. Don't raise them up to be grown behind boys and then put them on a woman who has her stuff together. There are mothers who buy their sons expensive gym shoes, stereos, and leather bags while providing room, board, and meals indefinitely. Indefinitely. All right, so we have mothers who feel they're not supported by the fathers, and the fathers are not supporting them in raising their sons. And that's a problem. And like I said all the time, just because a man is in the house does not mean he participates in the child rearing practices. I'm not saying he doesn't do anything with respect to the kids, but it's more than just showing up and giving your kids money or taking them wherever they want to go. It's more than just doing that. See, because a mother, if she's going to tell her sons to clean up, clean the bathroom, clean the dishes, do the laundry, and the father's not reinforcing it, as that young boy grows into an adolescent, what do you think his mindset becomes? He starts to feel like that's your job, not mine. And we're setting a lot of our boys up for failure. Because women nowadays, first of all, black women are one of the most educated black women out there. Educated women out there. Black women are making things happen day in and day out. And mothers, moms, let's just get real. Don't get in your feelings. We are sending our ill-prepared sons to marry these people. And we wonder why there's so many broken homes. I'm not saying that this is the exact reason why, but it's a contributing factor. We wonder why there's so many failed relationships. Especially when society says you don't have to take that anymore. And it becomes acceptable to walk away from your family. It becomes acceptable to get divorced. So now she got to figure out, do I stay with somebody who's weighing me down? Who has not grown into a man? Who doesn't help lighten my load? Do I stay with that person or do I let him go? And this is what's happening. So mothers, please stop babying your adult sons. Stop babying these men. And fathers, encourage your sons, not encourage them, but structure them and correct them when they're not cleaning and cooking and all this other stuff. Be a part of the solution. Stop contributing to the factors that are leading our families to fall apart. It's crazy out here. And no one thinks back to how this started. We can't keep blaming the white man for everything. I understand there are racial disparities. I understand there is injustice. I understand there is a major wealth gap. I understand this stuff. But maybe our black men have not been put in positions to conquer is because they're being babied. Mothers also lack knowledge of masculinity. They don't understand how to curve that and how to nurture that. I'm not saying that a mother can't raise a good man. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is mothers, whether it's the father of the child, which it should be, or a brother, uncle, or grandfather, they need that masculine energy because let's just be real with each other. There's going to be certain things that a mom cannot teach her son. A mom is not going to be able to break down for her son his first wet dream. He's probably not even going to tell you because you're his mother. We need men around for that. A woman cannot tell a young boy how it feels and what are the steps or the process, whatever, going into sex. And understanding why you have to have protection and all this other stuff. We can communicate that, but it's something that a man does for that boy that matters. But check this out. Here's the thing. If the men are not participating in the rearing of the child, actively participating in the rearing of the child, who's then teaching that boy how to be sexually responsible? Who's then teaching that boy how to have proper hygiene? Who's doing it? And therefore, we are raising boys to be adult boys because they're not men. They're not. Mothers use their sons to replace an absent husband. I see that all the time. And so many of them are so proud. They refer to their son as little man. Or you got to be the man of the house. And when you really break down a psychological message that's attached with that, then you understand exactly what you're setting up and what you are doing. We got to really think about these things. I know this has been passed down from generation to generation where single women who have children have told their children that you got to be the man of the house. He is not the man of the house. He is a boy that needs to know how to grow and develop into a man. He is not the man of the house. There's something psychological that goes on by conditioning your child to believe he is the man of the house when you're still raising him as a boy. Men pay bills. Men protect the home. Men should have the I said should, and I'm not being funny, but men should have the capabilities to fix things around a home. He is not the man of the house. So by you psychologically telling this boy that he is the man of the house, but yet you're washing his clothes, you're fixing his food, you're cleaning his room, what do you think is happening? We gotta watch what we say with words that don't align with action. That's dangerous. Mothers hold their daughters to a higher standard. When it comes to school and a lot of other areas, mothers put their daughters up here and what? They make excuses for their sons. That's gotta stop. That's gotta stop. I know for me, I can't speak for nobody else. I can only refer to me and my experience. I got 2 boys and 1 girl. And they all got the same expectation. Don't bring me anything less than an 80 in this house. If you break your phone, you pay for it. So you won't have a phone, so you save your money to replace it, because I'm not paying for it. Oh, you want some sneakers? How much money you have? Because you're going to buy it. Oh, you got paid? Invest that money in your stocks. My daughter got a Stash app on her phone, and my son uses his TD trading account through my name, but his son, his account. Equal opportunity here. Because you can't have a lower standard for one and a higher standard for the other and then make excuses. And then you're going to send this boy off as a man to disrupt another woman's house and her life. That's not fair. So in order for a man to become a man, it starts in his rearing from when he's a boy. And mothers protect their sons all the time. They protect their sons. Oh my Lord. Their sons can't do nothing wrong. That man can commit a crime, rob somebody, kill somebody, and she will call everybody a liar and everything but a child of God just to protect her child and say her baby is good. Her baby ain't do nothing. This is what mothers do. There's a rule of thumb in my house. You get locked up, expect no visitor, because I'm not coming. And if you ain't got money stashed for your bail, definitely ain't bailing you out. Definitely not going to do it. Because I've given you all the tools and the resources you need to be successful. All right? The question then becomes, who is going to teach black boys to be responsible in white America? Black men? Female teachers? Ministers? Peers? The television, radio, bosses, the extended family, athletic coaches, fathers, or mothers. Who's going to teach black boys to be responsible men in white America? I can be critical of black mothers only to a degree. The major indictment is on the black men, specifically black fathers, who began their jaunt toward irresponsibility by making a baby they refuse to care for. The onus is on you. Because if you did not plan on being in that child's life through hell and high water, you should have never made that child. See, yeah, your child support is nice. It's nice, but it does nothing to rear a respectable, responsible man or woman. It does nothing. Your availability needs to be there. Your mentoring, your correction, your coaching, that needs to be there. But the problem is, black men are abandoning their children, especially their black boys, and they're leaving them for the system to raise, for the female teachers in the school to raise, for the coaches to raise, for the mother to raise, for the streets to raise, and then they get mad when that boy doesn't turn out how they expected. You must be responsible for your child. So then we have the unemployed fathers. The unemployed fathers. Should black men and women accept these narrow gender roles, or should they understand that even while unemployed, men can help their children with homework, teach them the beauty of being black and a Christian or Muslim, whatever, a Jew, it doesn't matter, and also assist their wives with housework. Just because you're unemployed don't mean your hand is broken and your brain don't work. But you see, I oftentimes hear people when they come to me for counseling, their unemployed partner either sleeps all day and then he gets up in the afternoon, hits the street, come home late, go back to sleep all day, get up while she's doing the kids, she's paying the bills, she's trying to keep the house on, and then he got an attitude when she don't want to give him anything, when they arguing. Come on. Come on. You're a grown boy. You're not a man. You're not a man. You don't get to have the title of man when you're doing boyish things. You just don't. Until we redefine manhood and limit the psychological effect of welfare. See, you got women having these babies and they're on welfare because the man is not working. And not only did they have one baby by the person, they go and have 2 and 3 babies by them. The reason why that's possible is because welfare, unfortunately, has become a cushion for a lot of people. And they don't think about even bettering themselves. And since the women cannot fully rely on their man or their man for the moment, because we know a lot of them like to jump around and have different mothers for their children. So we already know that. A lot of them be roaming untamed. So we already know that. But because she can't rely on her man, she's afraid of giving up her welfare, giving up her Section 8, giving up her benefits. Because she knows that if she gives those things up, chances are he ain't going to be here and I'm going to be struggling again. That is the psychological effect of welfare. The psychological effect. We need to limit the use of welfare. We really do. We will continue to observe this phenomenon of boys making babies until we redefine what manhood is. I am tired of black women complaining about black men being irresponsible when they have the best opportunity to correct the problem with their sons. Check that out. I'm going to say that again. Just in case somebody didn't get it. I am tired of black women complaining about black men being irresponsible when they have the best opportunity to correct the problem with their sons. You see, because the black men that you are linked up with who is irresponsible or who are irresponsible, those black men once upon a time used to be boys. And so when their mama and their daddy mess up on structuring that boy, he grows to be an irresponsible black man. See, but he's walking around with the fact that his age alone is what he thinks means he's a man. And he's getting with you with boyish ways. Still hanging out, drinking to excess, having sex with a whole bunch of women, don't have any investments, doesn't know how to save money, pays their rent late, and just swear up and down they ain't going to get evicted. It's irresponsible behavior. But behind that irresponsible behavior, there was a mother that didn't raise him right. And I know women don't like to hear it, but let me tell you something. Everyone knows that phrase. Papa's baby, but mama's baby. That's what it is. See, there's no guarantee he's going to be there. There's no guarantee he is going to be present in that child's life. But once you decide to bring a child into the world, whether that man is there or not, you got to raise him or her. You got to raise those kids. And what we need to be doing is raising our sons to be men. In the best way we know how. And if you don't know how to do it, your boy needs to be in mentor programs. He needs to be around men who are actually men. And stop having irresponsible men hanging around your boy trying to raise them. I don't care if they're your brother. I don't care if they're their friend. If they're irresponsible men, they don't need to be raising your boy. Because they're going to teach them how to be irresponsible. See, once you have a son and you know that man is not going to be there in your life or that man leaves, your whole thought process needs to shift. You got to think about saving the generations to come. You got to now show that boy everything you're doing. If you're the one who's balancing the books and paying the bills, that boy needs to be right beside you, learning how to balance those books and pay the bills. If that boy, if you're going food shopping, that boy need to go with you to the supermarket and make him participate in the food shopping activities. If it's laundry time, that boy need to be right there and learn how to do laundry. If it's dinner time, he need to be right there and learn how to cook by watching you cook, and then you need to assign him those responsibilities. If you have younger siblings, he needs to learn how to babysit because he will be a father one day. He needs to learn how to be responsible in multiple areas of life. I repeat, responsible men are born in boyhood. Remember, our little boys will be someone's future husband and father. Who is going to teach black boys good hygiene and proper grooming? Who is going to ensure black boys do not play in their good clothes and hang them up after school? Was any of y'all raised like that? I was. And you know something? When I read this part of the book, I remember my mother used to lose her mind if me or my cousin, a female, did not take off our clothes and hang them up. See, y'all already know I grew up poor, right? So we had to wear what we wore on Monday, we had to wear on Wednesday. What we wore on Tuesday, we had to wear on Thursday. And then Friday, we got a new set of clothes to wear, a new outfit. And so it was imperative that when we came home from school, we had to take off our clothes and hang it up because we knew in 2 days we had to wear it again. But check this out. That rule applied to everybody in the household. But I remember vividly, many times my brother would come in and just throw his clothes down. And my mother would holler and she would scream and she would say, Sean, pick up your clothes, get your clothes, pick them up, blah, 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 blah. And he would just lie there and tell me he was napping and he would do it in a second. And this is not when he was really, really young, because he listened when he was really, really young. This is when he got into adolescence, into his teenage years. And I would see my mother go and pick up his clothes from off the floor, out the living room, in the hallway, and then go and throw it at him on the bed. Now, you already picked it up. You didn't make him get up. But let me or my cousin, who was a female, let us leave our clothes there. We would get our behinds whooped. So we were raised to be responsible. We were raised to be very responsible. And I see my brother, I love him to life. That's my brother. I love him. I mean, for real. Like, I love my brother like no other. But I see many of the same habits, and our childhood still exists. But thank God he's unmarried with no children. Thank God. Thank God. When will black boys be expected to make their beds and clean their rooms periodically? Who is going to make black boys wash dishes, mop, vacuum, dust, sew, and cook? When will black boys be expected to take care of their siblings in preparation for fatherhood? When are black boys going to be responsible for their sexual promiscuity? Our society, specifically families, have a double standard on this issue. Statements such as boys will be boys, all boys have some dog in them, and boys have to soak a few wild oats, or reinforce boys' feelings that they can do whatever they want sexually. When you hear the phrase teenage pregnancy, most people think of girls. My studies will still confirm that it takes consenting parties of both genders to produce a baby. So what is he saying? What is he saying? He's basically saying a lot of pressure is on the woman, the female, all the time. And we make excuses for boys. We make excuses for boys, and we make excuses for grown behind men. I ain't taking care of no grown behind man. Like my mother, it was one thing I love my mother. I so wish she was still alive. Because let me tell you something. My mother and my sister used to get into it all the time. Because she used to feel like, my sister used to feel like my mother didn't treat me the same way as she treated her. Now, my sister was adopted. So she's not like my biological sister. So she didn't have the same upbringing totally. She came into our lives when she was 16 years old. And my sister gets very mad. And she always feels like mommy didn't treat us the same way. And I remember one time me breaking up an argument between my mother and my sister. And my mother said to her, the reason why I'm harder on you is because I don't have to worry about Shonna. We used to call her Shondu when she was smaller for a reason. Don't ever say what Shonna won't do. Everything she says she's going to do, she's going to do. And she's not going to let a man lie up in her house while she works and pay the bills. I will roll over my grave if my daughter ever did anything like that. And she knows me so well. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're not going to disrespect me, and I'm not going to take care of you. It's not going to happen. And so I'm saying we make excuses for our boys, and we're very hard on our girls. The same conversations and talks that my mother used to give my sister and I, my brother should have had those conversations as well. But as long as we diminish what boys do, as long as we make light of it, we contribute, ladies, to the problem of having irresponsible men. We contribute to it. And then we get mad. But you got to remember, some of us who are angry at our men who are not taking care of our households have raised boys to be the same way. So you got to ask yourself, how am I showing up as a woman? What kind of energy am I attracting into my house and into my life? What am I putting out that I'm getting back in that process? Because a man knows. And trust me, I speak to plenty of men, so I know this for a fact. Not only because I'm an expert in relationships, not only because all my training and experience is in marriage counseling and I do a damn good job. Not only because of that, but because I always talk to guys. I got more male friends than I do female friends. And this is what I do know for a fact. That they can look at a woman, have a 5-minute conversation with her, and know whether or not they can play games with her. They know it. But we like to, man, look. Some of the women, I just be like, oh no. When they come to me, they tell me certain things, I'll be like, cut that relationship off. And they're so afraid of being alone. Like I said, some of them suffer from lonely woman disease. They're so afraid of being alone that they will put up with a man who has no vision and no goals. A man that still smokes weed and hang out with his boys. Sipping on Hennessy. Like, really? This is what we do when you grown? You 45 years old and this is what you're doing? But women will put up with it. And then they get angry. You got to ask yourself, what is it about me that I tolerate and I accept that kind of stuff in my life? We can't keep blaming the men because they're only going to do what you allow them to do. Most adults, especially mothers, are not comfortable talking to their sons about sex. Unfortunately, most boys learn inaccurate sexual information on the streets. Research shows that youth, specifically those labeled as high risk, become sexually active at 12 or 13 years of age. Our sad state of affairs results from a lack of moral responsibility, inadequately preparing our children on the use of contraceptives, and not holding them accountable for their piece of art. See, back in the days, if a man got a woman pregnant, he had to marry her. Let me say that again, because I don't want nobody to not get this. Back in the days, if a man got a woman pregnant or a boy got a girl pregnant, he had to marry her. Now we have nobody reinforcing this moral responsibility. See, if you're old enough to play, you're old enough to do all the work and the time necessary to go into it. Because this is not a game. And we have no man behind these young boys who are sexually irresponsible, making them take care of their responsibilities. So we wonder why our community is broken. We wonder why our families are dying. No nation will grow with a broken family. It won't. Don't believe the hype that you hear out here with these feminists. It's a lie from the pit of hell. This world is destructive. Our families are falling apart. And I don't care what nobody else's race and culture is doing. For my race and culture, we need to make sure we start instilling moral responsibility in our children. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. I remember my mother said to me, you get pregnant, you taking care of that child. Because I ain't going to raise nobody's child. And I always kept that in my head. I always made sure that stayed in my head. I don't know what's going on and why we have a lack of moral responsibility and why we think it's okay. Stop having sex with these irresponsible men, because we already know what the verdict is. We already know that these irresponsible men are not going to do their jobs. We already know that they're not going to take care of their kids. So why continuously put ourselves in positions to have this kind of headache? I don't understand women. You already know you with the bum dude, but you keep putting yourself in the same position and then get mad at him for being a bum dude. He was a bum dude when you got with him. It's just that simple. But no, everybody want to be, oh, I can change him. You can't change him. He's set from boyhood. His mama did a great job on him, and you're going to pick up where she left off at. The next area of responsibility is the law. Schools and the larger society operate on rules, right? On rules. If the rules are broken, there are direct consequences. That's just the nature of what we live in. That's planet Earth. You break the rules, there are consequences. When there are no rules at home and no repercussions, it is difficult for all youth to understand, especially black boys, who spend a disproportionate amount of time on the streets. So he's saying when there are rules at home that is not being followed, and there are no consequences for not following the rules, we are setting up a very bad dynamic for our black boys thinking. See, if they break a rule at home and you let them slide, what are we teaching these young boys about society? So then they wonder why they get in a lot of trouble when they're on the streets, because they're only doing what they learned at home. And they're thinking that their home life is replicated in the streets. So if mommy and daddy didn't discipline me home, I'm not going to get disciplined out there because it's not wrong. And it's so crazy that when you try to tell somebody this, they got 101 reasons why they do what they do. But my whole point is this. I don't care about your excuses. Look at your results. That's what I tell people. Don't come to me about your parenting issues if your kids are all over the place. You don't want to hear my opinion. Because you think what you're doing is working. But look at your results. Look at your track record. Your kids are criminals. Your daughter's pregnant. One of your kids live with you and they're 40. Look at your track record. And people get their feelings hurt. Don't get your feelings hurt. Start making changes. And then they go out and have babies. Check this out. I know I'm not the only one that know of these things. They go out Their irresponsible children go out and have babies. And then who raised them babies? Who raising them babies? They ain't going to raise them. They're irresponsible. Who raising them babies? She is. Grandma. Now grandma's mad. Grandma got beef with the daughter that he picked because she ain't being responsible. He picks him out of irresponsible because he irresponsible. Grandma mad at him because every time he bring the baby over, he in the street and she watching the baby. The baby's sick, but y'all taking the baby out at 12 o'clock at night. Come on now. Come on now. Look at your track record. So before you go cutting up, always sit back and look at your track record. Because your track record, your reputation is going to precede you all the time. Crazy. I'm mad now. I can't even finish reading this book. I get so angry about this stuff. Oh, Father, Lord. Who is going to teach the black boys to respect the rules and authority? Who is going to hold black boys accountable for becoming employed? Oh, man, I got to put this book down because y'all getting me mad. People have told me, not y'all, you know I love y'all, like, just reading this book. Like I'm saying y'all like knuckleheads. Knuckleheads make me angry. They do. They do. People have told me their parents said, you will either go to school or get a job, but you are not going to lay up in this house. Now, a lot of us have heard that, right? I add one more to it. The other one was, you're going to go to school, get a job, or go into the military, because you're just not going to be in this house. But how many people really follow doing that? I hear them make excuses for their sons all the time. He trying, though. He trying. I be looking at people like, really? Really? You ain't employed, you shouldn't be having sex. Because we know the consequences of sex is pregnancy. And we can't count on no condom, because condoms come off and condoms break. Come on, get your stuff together. Be more responsible. And stop making excuses for these grown behind boys. And stop running there talking about you're going to be trying to find him a job. Let that man find his own job. Because you know, if he don't find it, he ain't going to value it. I know people sit down there, do the man's resume, do the resume for them, follow up on a job with them, send it out, do everything for them. And he show up late. And they get mad. You should have been there on time. Stop doing everything for that man. Let him do it. Let a man be a man. And if he ain't a man when you got him, let him go. Throw him back in the sea. Because you better trust and believe, baby girl, he's sports fishing with you. And I told you in the last few videos that they getting savvier than ever now. See, once upon a time, these men used to go for these welfare moms, right? These chicken heads that's on welfare, and they'll spend their food stamps and everything on them, and they ain't got to do nothing but stay in the house and then go out and get high and drunk and come back, and she's still going to feed him with her food stamps. They used to look for women like that. But let me tell you something, ladies, because I see it all the time. I see it all the time. These men are getting very witty. They are looking for educated women now who reek of lonely woman disease. You better believe it. You better wash yourself of that lonely woman disease, because that's what they're looking for now. They're looking for somebody who's desperate and lonely. And he look all nice. He got his shape up, hair's nicely cut, dressed to the T, fooling you like he employed. And they use you because you like a nice dime piece on your arm. And he telling you he looking for work. And since you want to save everybody, you let him move in. And then you realize after the child, you got a bum. Make sure men are men. If they're going to want to court you, make sure they are a man. Make sure they are a man before you even open up your legs to them. Because you'll quickly find out how boyish they are. You got to take your time with these men. You got to assess them. Assess them to the T and see what he can and cannot provide. You got to weigh all your options, because cute just don't pay bills. Because if cute pay bills, my bills would be paid all the time. You know? You got to assess it. Stop rushing into these relationships. If you were him 5 years and you know he was a bum all 5 years, why would you have a child in the 6th year? You think he's going to change? A baby ain't gonna change no man, it's gonna make it worse. If black boys are allowed to stay with their parents indefinitely without contributing to the household financially and do not attend school or develop skills, how will they ever learn responsibility? When are black boys going to learn the relationship between diet and health, taking care of themselves? And lastly, who is going to teach black boys to be committed to the liberation of black people and to place God first in their lives? Many parents require their daughters to attend black and religious events, but leave it optional for their little man of the house. Their little man, ain't he a man? An irresponsible man. In conclusion, developing responsibility in black boys is essential if we want responsibility from black men. Responsibility starts early. The relationship between some mothers and sons also need an honest assessment. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about mothers and sons, mothers and sons, mothers and sons. Ooh, that relationship dynamic, mothers and sons. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I thank you guys all for tuning in with the Virtual Book Club. I love you all as always. 9:00 p.m. tomorrow, we pick up with the next chapter in this book, and that's chapter 5. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a blessed night.